Do. Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? We had a morning stream. We got some news to cover. It's pouring rain out here. Yo, what's up, Henry Flores? How you doing? Gray Knight, good morning. Chad, let's fucking go. Yo, Glenn Crypto. You guys must be on my part of the world. Or maybe you're in Australia. Was it nighttime for some of you guys? It's morning for me. Well, it's almost lunchtime here, actually. But good times, man. Good times. We got some interesting stuff going on. I want to stay ahead of the market. So, first of all, Tom Lee is in hot water. But we're going to check him out. He's actually an interesting guy. He's just under a lot of heat right now because his firm's under.
I really think crypto has bottomed. And I know I've called for the bottom the last 800 times. And I even said that Ethereum would be at $9,000 by the end of January. And I'm one of the worst public investors of all time because I'm down $6 billion on Ethereum. And at this point, I'm sure you don't believe anything that I say. And the only reason I'm saying these things is because I'm getting paid by Bitcoin to do it, including my $5 million stock bonus for buying so much Ethereum. And Ethereum is one of the worst performing assets in the last 6 months, but I just keep buying it and buying it and buying it. And I'm going to keep buying it while Bitcoin is paying me to do it. And I'm going to keep saying it's the bottom, even though it really won't be. And we're going to be going down forever, but I'm going to keep going on CNBC and saying that it's the bottom until I stop getting paid to do it.
How many times did I tell you guys these guys get paid to say what they say? How many times? Raoul Paul, Tom Lee, it doesn't matter. Pick your thing, all right? All these narratives are pushed by the elites, whether it's the PMI, the ISM, the Ethereum, the this, the that. I don't give a fuck. They figure out what they haven't pushed yet, and they pay somebody to push it on y'all heads. And then all the KOLs grab it, and they start fucking like a bunch of puppets, yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping, okay? And this is like the most honest little thing we've seen so far. All right, good morning. What's up, everybody? But he's in some trouble, man. But, you know.
If that's the case, then crypto prices should follow. Are in place for crypto to be bottoming right now because we're getting the level and enough time has passed. So I think as long as crypto fundamentals are good, which is the case, Ethereum active addresses is going parabolic right now and activity. Part of it is, of course, Wall Street is building up digital assets and converging those businesses. If that's the case, then crypto prices should follow. Are in place for.
Do we believe that? Do we believe it?
Crypto has bottomed, and I know I've called for the bottom the last 800 times, and I even said that Ethereum would be at $9,000 by the end of January, and I'm one of the worst public investors of all time because I'm down $6 billion.
All right, so look, here's the thing. Okay, I think he's going to be right eventually. Okay, Ethereum probably will get to $9,000 in the future, but the truth is the timing matters, right? And the key for the elites is the fact that they know a lot of this crypto is going to go up, but they want to get you off sides. Okay, they need you to buying at the wrong time, and they want you selling at the wrong time. And it's the way it is. Okay, so Tom Lee's investment may do well, but he's going to be paid to be underwater, possibly, or they've got other ways to hedge his position, which he may have done, right? Because maybe he already knows what they're going to do, or he might not know. It just may be a matter of they've given him enough incentives to say what he's saying and position his firm the way it is. And they may have, like I said, hedges on the back end that cover the losses that you don't realize. Okay. So now they're saying his Ethereum portfolio is now down $5.5 billion. And the other psychological advantage of the way that it's played this way is to keep the public okay with losing money. Okay, so you psychologically are down on your portfolio, but you're kind of going, yeah, but look, this guy's down $6 billion. He's down this much. Like, it's okay. I can be down as much as I am. And it's important to also understand that aspect of it, okay? That kind of keeps you kind of playing the game and being okay with taking losses. When the fact of the matter is, he's being paid to say the shit he's saying, and he possibly has hedges that are already created for him by other entities, silent entities that cover maybe these losses that you can't see. All right. It's a very complicated world out there, and it's business, man. Tom Lee about to break the record for the largest investment loss in the history of mankind for top lasting ETH at 4K. Yeah, we can go look at ETH really quick and see where he bought. And I want you to understand something. Where he bought is the exact place you should never purchase an asset. And it's an asinine place to buy an asset at resistance, okay? Nobody does this. Let me show you what I'm talking about, okay? Let's go look at ETH really quick. Now, why, people will say things like, well, no one knows, when to buy and sell. It's like, sure, you don't know. We don't know. Not even I know. I don't have a crystal ball. But there are places where you never buy an asset. You just never would. A 2-year-old, not a 2-year-old, but an 8-year-old would understand this with some basic rudimentary understanding of markets. So if he bought it at 4K, well, 1, you got a double top. 2, it's resistance. Okay, you don't buy at resistance. You have to wait for what's called a breakout retest. So what you'd get is you'd get something out here, you get a retest, you'd get it to close, and maybe you'd see something like this. Okay, and because we've already had this right here, you need to get a close up here and go. Okay, and then you would build your position. All right, you can't just assume that anything in here is going to stick. Okay, because it's your resistance range. Okay, so he was buying up in here. All right, and what happened? Every time it's collapsed from there, collapsed from there, collapsed from there. This is a very tricky area to YOLO a position into. You just would never do this. You'd need some proof of it. You need some closure up there, because if ETH is going as high as these people say they are, then you don't need to. You can start building your position maybe at 4,500 or 5K. You're going to do just fine. Always wait for the chart to give answers. The chart always speaks. Yeah, it's a chart, man. But you would never. And also there was Richard Hart also famously was buying ETH up here, I believe. And this is resistance. You just don't do that. All right. You need the chart to give you a confirmation that that's the direction. And when you're at resistance, you don't have that. All right. You can YOLO that support possibly. I would give somebody leeway for that, but not a resistance, right? So he's taking a lot of heat, and it was a pretty risky move. But he may be paid, or he may have the incentive structures in place for him to do that. Okay, and that's what we don't know for sure. Nigga Tom Lee, his portfolio is down by $5.5 billion. Yeah, he's down pretty bad. Okay, let's see what he says here.
So we think ETH can be 7,000, 9,000 by the end of January, and that's a huge recovery move. But that's also pretty typical of what could happen in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so these predictions are tough, right? And I've said this before. I did a whole deep dive on Ethereum on a stream last week where I said, look, I have no doubt Ethereum's going to rip to unbelievable levels, but you don't know the timeline that's involved, because BlackRock could, or any, the people that have an invested interest can keep ETH. Let's go back and look at this. They can keep this ETH in this pennant for a very long time. I mean, I've got the chart going all the way to about almost 2032 over here. Okay, they could keep it chopping in here for a very long time. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go that long. I mean, hopefully, ideally by end of this year, 2027, we're starting to move up. But the point is, we don't know that. They could keep it in here, tightening until finally in 2030 it goes up. That's all I'm saying. We're confident ETH's going to do well, but we don't know how long it's going to range. Just like silver or gold, they can range these assets for a very long time, shaking everybody out year after year after year, and then finally you get the move, as you saw in silver or gold. And when the move does come, it's quite massive and happens very quickly, but you just don't know when that move is coming, right? But in all fairness to Tom Lee, he has made some good calls as well, right? So let's go down here and take a look at some of his good calls. So this is back in 2019, or let's go back here in 2019. Tom Lee, listen to this.
You actually think it's undervalued by that extent?
Well, we think the best approach for most people is just to put 1% or 2%
Are you saying that? I get that if you're somebody who's got a lot of assets. I still think it's crazy. But for a retail investor, somebody who's saving for retirement and putting that aside, that seems crazy to me.
Well, it's basically the idea that you can afford to lose 1% if that's 1% of your portfolio.
That's crazy. You might as well throw it away on high fees to an investor, to an average. Like this, you're taking a flyer on that. You don't know where it's going to go or what's going to happen.
Well, in a way, that's right, Becky. That for the majority of people, it's 1% is like a small risk bet. But Bitcoin makes all of its gains in 10 days in a year. I think this is an example that if you exclude the 10 best days, Bitcoin loses 25% a year. So you got to essentially hold it or hodl it, as they say, to really capture the gains.
Right now, if you actually think it's undervalued by that extent.
Yeah, so that was a good call, right? In all intents and purposes, right? The Bitcoin's quite substantially up by then, right? Now, the thing is, maybe it took a while, but if you had held it from then, you're up 20, let's say, 20x from there almost, right? You did certainly more than that this year, 24x. All right, and this was in 2019, so that's a pretty good investment, right? And I feel the same about Ethereum. He's going to be right, but maybe we don't know the timeline. That's the thing people forget, that there's time and there's price involved with anything, right? What do you say? Bitcoin 180K by January 31st. Man. Tom Lee's portfolio. Yeah, he's down quite a bit. Like I said, he could have hedges put for him in elsewhere. We don't know that, right? Don't make assumptions. You don't know anything at this level. What's this saying? Very, very, very interesting. What's up, Art Suave Angelo? His hair's not that. There's definitely worse haircuts than him. He gets liquidated at 2K ETH. Oh, shit. Are you for real? That's crazy, man. Because, these assets are volatile. And if we get a flash crash, you can have wicks down easily under 2K on ETH, man. Easily. Look, man. Look, let's go to the chart really quick here. Let me show you some of these targets I have down here. Because, when I chart a chart, I look at everything. I look at upside. I have upside targets on ETH that I've charted. But I have, not on this chart, but I have another chart. But then I have tons of downside targets, okay? And just on this chart right here, open, you have a line at $700, 876, 1,085. Oh, this could easily spike down before we rip to the upside. And there's tons of, right here about $350. You got another one about 487. So that's rough. If 2K is his thing, no, that's crazy, man. It can't be 2K, bro. We're at 2,300. We could easily get a wick. I already drew some patterns down here to 1,700, 1,600, and we'd still be bullish if those get hit. You see 64 BTC? Yeah. We can go look at BTC in a second. We'll come back. But my range was 64K right here, 64 to 73. That's where we're going to engage. I think the bottom is going to be inside that range right there. But we'll come back in just a minute. Let's continue seeing what this guy's up to. We'll come right back to this. Now, so, he's made some good calls too, but it's about that timing issue, right? You got to look at that, consider that. All right, let's look at what's going on in the news today. This guy's saying, last chance to sell your Bitcoin and swap to XRP. Obviously, the Epstein narrative is getting really strong. People are losing faith in Bitcoin. But I think it's a good opportunity to understand that their narratives are going to come that could make a lot of altcoins very strong moving forward. Obviously, XRP is one of those, XLM. But if you think about it, Pulse Chain, which is a DeFi project made by Richard Hart, it's been down in Goblin Town forever, but these could be the type of narratives that help kick energy into it. There's also a copy of Wrapped Bitcoin over there that could do really well with narratives like this pumping up, okay? So you keep that in mind over there on Pulse Chain. Japan considers allowing banks to trade digital assets such as Bitcoin. That's nice. They're calling it Bitstein now, or Epstein, okay? So this anti-Bitcoin thing is growing. So this is gonna add a lot of steam for a lot of other interesting projects happening right now. All right, this is cool. McAfee.
What uses Bitcoin? People trade Bitcoin, but you and I and everybody knows that eventually people are going to catch up and catch on and go, oh, fuck me. Bitcoin's worthless. It is worthless. You know it's worthless. Please, God, what is the worth of a cryptocurrency? The use of it. What uses Bitcoin? People trade Bitcoin, but you and I and everybody knows that eventually people are going to catch up and catch on and go, oh, fuck me. Bitcoin's worthless. It is worthless. You know it's worthless. Please, God, what is the worth of a cryptocurrency? The use.
McAfee's awesome. He's definitely missed. I think this meme is fucking hilarious. Bitstein. Oh, man. It's getting good. It's getting good. Stuff is getting good. All right. The crypto market structure bill is going
The
down.
congressional effort to advance a landmark bill regulating cryptocurrency is hitting a snag tonight. Debate on the bipartisan measure was delayed after a major crypto exchange withdrew its support. Chief Congressional Correspondent Chad Pergram has the story and details from Capitol Hill.
A mega bill about
Morning,
megabytes and mega dollars hacked by a lack of consensus.
It was a blow. I feel a little bit like Flat Stanley after he got run over by the Mack truck.
The Senate's tiptoe through the crypto prompted one key player to declare the industry would, quote, rather have no bill than a bad bill.
I felt a responsibility to speak up for our customers and say that the current draft text would be materially worse for them.
Banks worry that the digital asset stablecoin could steal their business. The value of stablecoins are pegged to things like gold or the dollar. President Trump signed a law last year allowing some stablecoin holders to essentially earn interest higher than the return at banks.
They have to come to consensus with the innovation community, and if they can't, then they're going to have to live with the status quo.
The industry demands lawmakers forge an agreement soon.
If this doesn't pass now, that it will result in a significant delay after the midterms.
Crypto is hard to grasp.
Digital assets like Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Tokenized equities are a very important part.
However, lawmakers say the legislative delay has ramifications for even non-crypto investors.
Well, they should care, because if we don't get it right, it could be destabilizing to their traditional community banking system.
But at least one lawmaker wants to delete crypto.
The advantage of cryptocurrency is that it is literally hidden money. Clearly, we'd be better off without it.
Crypto is a priority for President Trump. In this bill, Democrats wanted guardrails for public officials since the president's sons are active in crypto. Brett?
Chad Pergram.
Yeah, so this is a pushback, and the timing of it's perfect, right? Especially if we're taking a little bit of a spill. Makes me think that metals are not topped out yet, and they could have a little bit more juice going to the upside. Something to keep in mind here. Bitcoin has now closed 4 consecutive months in red. Last time this happened was during the 2018 bear market. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Let's go look over there at Bitcoin. Bought Bitcoin. It's funny. I'll let you guys read that. I'm not streaming to X. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on technically right now. What a mess. That's too bad. Yeah. Let's go get into that Bitcoin chart, okay? Vitalik. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Why did people buy did a lot of people buy 125K? I mean, not that many people, to be totally honest. I suppose there was quite a bit of euphoria there, right? I mean, it was very obviously a top. I mean, technically the market had completed. You had tons of bearish divergence leading into it. Volume was dropping out. Tons of wicks at the top here. A lot of resistance. But it is what it is, right? A lot of people don't see the stuff we see. You sold silver at 110, 118. Good job, man. Good job. So one thing I was talking about the other day, we also do a TA members only video that we do for an hour twice a week, and people can request, and we go into depth about what's happening in in some of the main projects and different altcoins. But something we were talking about recently on my last stream was that I think this range here is going to be interacted with, which was 73K down to 64K, okay? And we've wicked off the top of it, and I've had this range over here for a little while now. because I think this is where we're going to get our bottom, all right? Because I think the bear market isn't going to be as lengthy as people think. So we're going to come into here. I don't know exactly where that's going to be, okay? 64K, 67, 69. We're going to get our bottom in here. I feel pretty confident about that. Because once again, it is the highs from 2021, 64, 69, and then the top here of us first breaking it. So these are important levels to me. So that's where I think we could be. I know a lot of people are going to want and desire something like what we had back in, like a typical bear, okay, like this, okay, maybe, and then you get that opportunity to buy at 30K, okay, but you have some kind of like range here, okay, kind of like what you have. See this right here? Very similar, something here. But I just don't think the market's going to give you something like that so easily. So many people are saying that this is an obvious fractal. It's going to repeat again, and we're going to see this. I just don't see it. I think we're going to get something different. I think maybe you're going to get a couple opportunities to buy some low prices, but I think they're going to be more likely in this range. So maybe you'll get to buy 60K, 65K, 70K, something in here. Maybe you get a couple dips into there, and we're going to do something weird, and then we're going to be ready to start building value again. Okay, we're gonna stay. I won't say bullish in the sense, but you're not gonna lose out so much. And I think BlackRock, maybe institutions now, kind of maybe helping to range that price, keep that price in a certain range. Christopher Christus, thanks a lot, brother. I really appreciate that. I definitely have a different approach on how I do TA. I don't know why people find it complicated. It's the fair value and market conditions. Let's go over here to the, we can look at price to stock to flow, price prediction. Stock to income. I actually want to look at, yeah, so this is pretty cool. This is a price prediction chart. This is really interesting, okay? And stock to flows we've seen before in this bright blue, but they are predicting by 2028, which is what I want to see most importantly, is we're getting a consensus, at least between stock to income and stock to flow, of around 400,000 on BTC. And I'll be honest, I like that. I think that we likely will stay around that $500,000 range for the top, for this actual top when it comes in. All right. Another thing I want to show you is go to Rainbow Habits. Yeah. So according to this one, we're pretty low. This would technically be an area you'd already start to be buying Bitcoin in. And to some extent, I kind of agree. I think we're going to get another low, and then we're going to range as I showed you. And I think there's more opportunity to the upside now, for sure, as opposed to getting much, much lower prices. I think a lot of people might be left behind. I also think they're trying to get older wallets to sell. I think that's part of the game going on right now as well, is that, institutions, if you think about it, they don't care buying Bitcoin at 50,000 or 100,000. I mean, obviously they care, but what's more valuable to them is getting you to sell your Bitcoin to them if you're a holder, okay? So they can control the asset. So shaking older wallets out of their Bitcoin, I think, is the name of their game, right? Is the name of the game right now for them. Okay, I think that's a big part of what's happening right now. I think they're really convincing people to sell it. That's why I don't think they're going to bring the price down that low and allow those people to buy back in. They're going to keep them waiting for a lower price that doesn't come, and then they're going to mark this asset back up dramatically. So I'm very bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but Tom Lee might have to wait. We don't know exactly how long ETH is going to range and kind of be held in that fucking range, but it is what it is. It is what it is. This guy's car is awesome. All right, this is the NIAM. It is a survey based indicator measuring the average equity exposure of active investment managers who are members of the National Associate, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Kind of reflects generally how bullish or bearish purchasing managers are on the U.S. stock market. Okay. Now, I want to just show you something really quick and why I think we're going to get this last kind of like drawdown, okay, before we move to the upside. You can see here when we got the bear market, let's say, for example, okay, going into 2022, market reversal was like right here, okay? This was September 2022, November 2022. When did Bitcoin start its run? It was January of 2023, all right? January of 2023, which was right already up here, and this exposure index was already above 60, okay? Was already above 60, okay? I bought on the exact date that I bought Bitcoin was January 2nd, 2023. I have records. I bought it on that day before we ripped, okay? And you can see, though, where they were at their lowest of positioning and acquisition was before that, was back in September, okay? So they were already out May through September. Through that summer, 2022, when things were really bearish, they were out. But they were starting to purchase that fall, October, November, December. But retail was not. Retail was still waiting for 10K Bitcoin. Now, I'm using Bitcoin because we're in crypto, but this includes everything, okay? So this would be equities, stock market, what have you, okay? But this is a great kind of thermostat to see what's going on, okay? Because their job is to be ahead of the market trend, of course. Otherwise, they wouldn't have their job very long, right? So we can look at this and think like, okay, so they were dumping in 2022, before 2022. The highest they were holding was November 2021. And they knew to start letting things go and then rebuying. Okay. Now, when was the last time they were at a high here? This was the summer of 2023, and we had a sell-off. Okay, and then they bought back in November of 2023. Now, if you remember, 2024 was a very bullish year. Now, as I've said before in my live streams, that I think the Bitcoin top was not here on October 26th, October 6th, 2025, like a lot of people have been saying. My theory is that the top was actually the winter, December of 2024. Okay, right here, which means the bear market's almost over. That's my theory, okay? Because 2025 was a bear market type year, okay? Even though we had some selective runs, but the altcoin season was 2024. Okay, that was the altcoin season we got. May not have been the altcoin season you wanted, but it is the altcoin season we got, all right? And if you come back here, it reflects kind of what was going on with them as well. They were bullish and buying and trading in 2024, and they began dumping where? Right here, December 2024. They were getting out. They were getting out. They were getting out, and they were out by the spring of 2025. Okay. And then what did they do? They bought back in, and they've been riding this high all the way till now. All right. So they're in. So it may not be the best time to buy, but maybe the best time to buy is right around the corner. All right. Now, once again, you can't totally make heads or tails of this, but we can see that there's something to be said about this. Also similar by looking at, things like the ISM and all these different things too. You kind of get a basic thermostat. But we know right now they're in. Soon they'll probably be selling, but they're not selling right now. All right. But we know the best times to buy when this is at the bottom. These are really great times to buy. Okay. Obviously, let's look at Fear and Greed Index. Let's see what that's telling us right now. Fear and Greed Index is at 17. So for crypto, we are actually at an amazing time to buy. All right. Because technically, if you buy down here, you can be rewarded quite well. But I want to get something longer, actually. I want to see going all the way back to 2021. Can I get... can just throw it up here. There's a fear and greed. What the name of God is this indicator? Interesting. Interesting. So let's take a look at this. I've never seen this one before. Let's play with it. Let's take a look. So I just discovered this one. December 24 was the end of the solar cycle. Awesome. Thanks, Fatina. That makes sense. That's my prediction. I think that was actually the start of the bear market. Not even though technically the end of the cycle might have been October 6, 2025, I think December 2024 was the end of the bull run, and that we've been in a bear market since then. And I drew this in my last show in the sense that my theory was that this is a irregular ABC correction. Okay, normally it'd look something like this. Okay, but it actually ended up being something like this, and this is fair game. So I think that C line is coming in, okay, somewhere over here, okay, and I'm just going to put it here at 65. I don't know exactly where it's going to come in, but it's going to come in somewhere around here. Now, it doesn't mean we can't get a rally before then. We can absolutely, and I've talked about this, push up to maybe 100,000 on Bitcoin. We could definitely have some moves up before we dump down, okay? But I find this thing called fear and greed. And you can see when it's been in the red, it could be a good time to buy. We absolutely are really low on this thing. Let's go to the weekly. It's kind of weird on the weekly, but when you go to the monthly, it seems like it could be quite accurate. Here you go. On the 2-month, that's when you get more accuracy. So you can see down here, so Tom Lee was telling everybody to buy. Yeah, this was a good time to buy. And we've got Confluence here. It's red. Absolutely, this was a great time to buy down here in September of 2022, October, November, December, and you've got Confluence here. We're still in the green. So are we going to get red as soon as we get these last flush down and chop down in this range? Maybe that's going to be the time that we buy, because that will be a juicy spring for us. If we're going to go up to that much higher levels, we're going to need a little bit more fear in the sense. But I think a rally could be around the corner because things have been oversold now for a little bit. So we at least need to get that rally at least up here to where we broke down from at the 100, is it? Yeah. And or possibly even the 50. Okay. But about 100K, we could get a nice juicy rally up till there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Republicans need votes. I therefore see a solid end of Q3 this year in the crypto markets overall. Yeah. I think that we could wrap up this bearish market. I think, like I said, we've already been in it now. Let's see how the time. If you go off my theory, we've already been in this bear market since. Hello. We've already been in this bear market for 413 days. If you think about it, that means we may only have like 4 or 5 months left, okay, of bear market. So that would put us in February, March, April, May, June. Guys, that's it. And I think instead of selling May, go away, we start ripping into the summer and into the fall. So we got a lot of great stuff to look forward to. So it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And guys, just so you guys know, there's the members videos are going to be deep dives in TA. They're going to be also for requests. So anything you guys want to request, so sign up. It's pretty much the cost of coffee and a croissant or something like that. You can think of it once a month. It's $6.99, and you get to be in the TA members only videos and request whatever you want, and we'll go deep dive because your bottoms are coming in for stuff, and you don't want everyone to have access to that. So people who are serious about it, you should check it out. I got a video coming up soon. We're going to do a deep dive into Tom Billow's take on the Epstein files. So that's going to be fun too. same. With all the TA I've done, this is the top of 125 for BTC. My TA is saying 39K for BTC. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Yeah, technically you're correct. There's definitely a lot of levels down below that that could be hit. And absolutely down here. There's technically a possibility that Bitcoin could come down to 50K, 45K, 33K, 30K, 20K, all the way down to 3K. There's areas, right? But if you were to do a typical bear market drawdown, if you just say we use the last bull run, right? You've got an 80% drawdown. And this is without, we're not even pulling fibs. We're just looking at, let's say we did an 80% drawdown. Where would that put you? Okay. 25K. Okay. And maybe it's not as bad. So instead of 80%, you get a 70% drawdown. It's 37K, let's say, right? So all these things are possible technically. But what I'm suggesting in my theory is that we're getting a shorter bear market. Now, once again, this is a theory. We don't have to. We could get a standard technical more typical bear market, and you might be correct. But I have a feeling it happened faster without people realizing it. They don't need to run it down that low necessarily, though it's possible. But it would be unpredictable if we got a very shallow bear market. Maybe the lowest we got is the tap of the 200. Maybe it's around 60K. And it wasn't an extended time to buy. Like maybe it was more of like flash crashes into that zone, which is why I drew more of a sharp dump into the zone and then back out rather quickly, not giving people enough time to realize this might be a good place to buy, and then we kick up and start moving again. Okay. Also PMI, I believe the ISM has crossed above 52, I believe. So that's a good sign. But yeah. But yeah, nice work. I mean, any of these things are possible. Yeah, we could absolutely go down to 40K, 30K, 20K. It's crypto. It could happen. But I have a feeling we're going to have a less shallow situation here. But that's just a theory. It's just a theory. Let's see what happens. I'm just thinking this would really keep people from buying. Because a lot of people that sold 126, and one of the reasons is simply this. See, when you go down to these lower ranges, what keeps people from buying, okay, right here, what kept people from buying is that the fear is so bad that even though the price is at an 80% discount, you don't want to buy it. And that's why people didn't buy here. So if you run it down here, okay, and you go to 40K, okay, and you get the price down here, which is technically correct, okay, you could absolutely come down here, let's say 40K, looks fine to me. You get a correction like this, right, before you start going. What keeps people from buying this is fear. Epstein controls Bitcoin. Mossad had put code in that they can sabotage. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what the fucking narrative is. I don't fucking care. There'll be some narrative that will keep people from buying it. But who will buy it at that range? Ask yourself, who would buy it at 40K? Even with all the fear in the fucking world. Crypto people. People who've already owned Bitcoin before, right? They're going to buy because they've seen this. And what did I just say earlier in the video that they're trying to do? They're probably trying to get older wallets and crypto people to sell their coins to them. So why, if those are the only people that are unaffected by fear, because they've been in crypto for like 2, 3, 4 cycles, they don't give a fuck what the narrative is, they're going to buy. You don't want them to buy again. So maybe my theory is we're not going to get a typical bear market. They're not going to give the chance for those hardened players who aren't affected by fear to buy. And once again, this is me just thinking a lot of like 5D chess strategy, but that's how my mind works when I look at these assets. All right. Better than my man. I'd love to. Exactly. You'd love to buy 39, 30K. And so would everybody else. And that's why I don't think we're going there. Because people are too used to the cycles repeating right now. The fear may not work and people will buy. And that's exactly what I'm saying. So we may get flash crashes into some of these zones I talked about, or maybe we tap some lower prices, but it's a flash crash. Either way, you won't have time to think, And I think we'll start moving up, and only then will people realize that, oh, shit, I think the bottom came in. They won't even know the bottom came in kind of situation maybe. Kind of like people didn't know the top came in. Do you understand? People did not know that the top was in. All right? And in the same way, I don't think people are going to know that the bottom came in, and they won't have time to buy. So, yeah, everybody like the video, subscribe to the channel. I forgot to, I don't know, some reason Twitter didn't turn on, so we got a slow stream. But I think some good information. We'll be back soon. Hopefully tonight I'll do that long stream with the Epstein files, because we need to get into it, and Gary should be joining me too. Love you guys. Thanks so much for the support. And links are at the top, man. Come to the Telegram group. Oh, and Mr. St. Wolf on Instagram. Go to Mr. St. Wolf on Instagram if you want to catch real alpha without paying for the members video, and if you want to be the first to hear it. So Mr. St. Wolf on Instagram, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.